Kick it.
For many, the Super Nintendo defined gaming in the 1990s. Nintendo faced a monumental task in creating a follow-up for the iconic NES system. You see, gamers and parents were not yet acclimated to the console upgrade cycle. Yet they somehow succeeded, developing hardware that was a clear step above its predecessor, offering a nice upgrade for Nintendo fans. But of course, what truly makes a system great is the software. So on today's episode of 5 Games, I present 5 great Super Nintendo games. Mickey Mania: The Timeless Adventures of Mickey Mouse is a platformer developed by Traveler's Tales, who is currently known for an endless supply of LEGO games, and published by Sony, who was still learning the console business prior to releasing their own game console. On the surface, this is a fairly standard platformer. You guide Mickey through various environments, dodging obstacles and throwing gems at enemies. What makes the game so great is the high level of polish. Each level represents a different film in the vast Mickey Mouse library. The graphics are terrific and actually look like a Sega Genesis game with a lower color count in exchange for plenty of parallax scrolling. The enemies are all large and well animated, doing a nice job capturing the essence of an animated feature. The sound in Mickey Mania follows suit, with an awesome soundtrack worthy of the Disney name. Overall, Mickey Mania features an exceptional level of quality. The controls are some of the smoothest you'll find from the genre and really elevate the experience. While this Super Nintendo port is missing a level or two, some animation and a ton of voice samples compared to the sublime Sega CD port, it's also half the price and somewhat of a hidden gem for the system. Next up is Super Castlevania 4. Like any good sequel, Capcom did a terrific job expanding the basic formula, in addition to resolving many of the control quirks of the original trilogy. First and foremost, you now have control of the jump arc, allowing you to make mid-air tweaks and adjustments. This goes a long way in preventing many deaths into bottomless pits. Next, the whip controls have been greatly expanded, allowing you to attack in nearly every direction. The whip can even be used as a shield, which makes enemies like Medusa heads a non-issue. Unfortunately, the expanded whip does nerf the magic a bit. This of course leads to an endless debate on which game is better, Super Castlevania 4 or Castlevania Bloodlines on the Sega Genesis, but I'll save that debate for a future video. The graphics are still appealing with a nice mix of semi-realism while still throwing a ton of color on the screen. And of course there is the soundtrack, which does a nice job introducing new compositions and remixing the classic ones, helping to create a game with an awesome sense of atmosphere. So, Super Castlevania 4 has awesome controls, awesome music, and an awesome soundtrack, which of course adds up to an awesome game. Perhaps my favorite aspect of the 16-bit generation of video games is how the Genesis and Super Nintendo would receive completely different versions of games. Batman Returns on the Genesis is not the same as Batman Returns for the Super Nintendo. Same goes for Disney's Aladdin. The Super Nintendo port was done by Capcom, and for many is the superior Aladdin. The game plays like a hybrid of sorts. On one hand, this is a classic platformer. Aladdin must make his way through various scenes from the movie, jumping on enemies and chucking apples at them to rescue the princess. On the other hand, there is a bit of cinematic platforming mixed in, with some interesting acrobatics and plenty of ledge grabbing. Combine all of this bliss with some solid level design and interesting level gimmicks, and you have one of the better Disney games from this generation. On top of all of this are some wonderful graphics. The color palette chosen for each level is rich, vibrant, and distinct, making progression a satisfying experience. And of course, the soundtrack is pretty awesome. Capcom had no shortage of music talent, and it really shows in Aladdin. Whether it is the original compositions or remixes from the movie, Aladdin shows off some of the richness of the Super Nintendo's audio chips. Above all else, Aladdin is just a lot of fun and a must-have for the system. Capcom had their work cut out for them when transitioning the Blue Bomber from the 8-bit NES to the 16-bit SNES. Yet with Mega Man X, most agreed they knocked it out of the park. Games like Mega Man X are the reason many people still prefer old-school games to more modern titles. Mega Man X does just about everything perfect, and this starts with the controls. The jumping feels spot on, and the level design fits perfectly around the jump arc. And of course, the shooting is equally terrific, and there is something simple yet satisfying with the arm cannon. Despite this simplicity, Capcom managed to blend in plenty of depth as well. There are plenty of upgrades to give Mega Man additional capabilities, such as the iconic dash. Mega Man can slide on walls, again adding a new layer of depth to the level design. And of course, he gains the weapon abilities of each defeated boss. As each boss is weak to a specific weapon, there is plenty of trial and error to be had, or you can cheat and use a guide for a more streamlined experience. Things don't end here, as there are extensions to your life bar and refillable health tanks to be found. But despite all of these enhancements and additional features, the core mechanics of Mega Man X remain the same. Run and jump through levels and shoot enemies. Few games capture the essence of what a video game should be, simple and fun, better than Mega Man X, making this one of the best games of its day. Last but certainly not least is The Lost Vikings. I've been singing the praises of The Lost Vikings for over 5 years now, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. The game is a platformer, action, puzzle hybrid of sorts. The goal of each level is to navigate the 3 Lost Vikings to the exit of the level. However, you can only control one Viking at a time, and each has 1 or 2 unique abilities. Thus, you have to recognize which character is best suited or required for specific obstacles and puzzles. Additionally, you also have to play defense, protecting the other 2 characters from death and peril while controlling the third. A game with this much complexity could easily become overwhelming and convoluted, but Blizzard did an awesome job keeping things quite intuitive, and it is very simple to perform all of the different moves and tasks required for success. Of course, none of this would matter without some terrific levels, and The Lost Vikings delivers. Never have I played a game where the level design so perfectly matched the abilities of the protagonists. This is Mega Man X territory, no lie. While challenging at times, it is immensely rewarding to conquer some of the brain teasers the developers created. While the graphics and sound are average for the time, the controls and gameplay concepts easily make up for it. In the end, The Lost Vikings is easily one of the most overlooked and underrated video games I've played in my entire life. So there you have it, 5 great games for the Super Nintendo. Now, this is not a definitive list, nor is it intended to be a best of, and the Super Nintendo has far more than 5 great games, so be sure to leave a comment and let me know which SNES games you enjoy.